Good morning, everybody. Today we're here to talk about updates and an arrest in a case we have from this Saturday, a homicide. Speaking today will be Major O'Carroll with our Major Crimes, Cyber, and Forensics Bureau, and Lieutenant Aaron Weeks, a commander in our Violent Crimes Division. Major O'Carroll.
Thank you. Good morning. I first want to start out by extending my deepest sympathies and condolences to the family and friends of Darlene Ariel Diaz Flores. A life cut short. This murder was senseless. A dangerous man is in police custody after being charged with second-degree murder and the use of a firearm in the commission of a felony referenced the fatal shooting this past Saturday night on September 17th. 18-year-old Kevin Alexander Lemus of Alexandria was arrested last night, September 20th, around 7 p.m. He was found in the 7200 block of John Paul Drive. In a way of background about this tragedy, our victim, Diaz Flores, was standing outside a friend's apartment, doing nothing wrong. And that was in the 8400 block of Grave Street in Alexandria, the Alexandria area of Fairfax County. The victim and a small group had just returned from a social event in Maryland, and he was waiting outside for a ride home with friends. Lemus, who we now know was the killer, passed by the victim, and the two exchanged very simple words. That led to some sort of confrontation that ended with Diaz Flores being shot in the upper body. This is an argument that escalated to a physical confrontation that led to a murder. The killer, the cold-blooded killer, fled the scene. 911 was called by community members. The victim was found by our responding officers lying on the sidewalk. They gave aid. They did everything they could. The victim was taken to Fairfax Hospital by ambulance, and very sadly, 19-year-old Diaz Flores was pronounced deceased shortly after arriving at the hospital. Major crimes detectives went right to work. They do what detectives do so well. Interviewed witnesses, neighbors, scoured for surveillance footage, collected forensic evidence and information from the scene. Their important work eventually led to a big break in the case, and Lemus was identified as our killer. Now, Lemus is a young man. He's currently at the Fairfax County Adult Detention where he belongs, but he had just turned 18, and he's no stranger to Fairfax County law enforcement. He has over 80 contacts with law enforcement, numerous serious contacts. But he was arrested last night. Rest assured, he's in custody, and some awesome cops did awesome work, amazing teamwork. Once arrested, he was taken here to the Fairfax County Public Safety headquarters, right in our building, where he confessed to being the trigger puller. He gave a full confession to what he did. After here, as I said, he went to the county jail. He's held on no bond. The firearm that Lemus used has not been recovered. It's an important point of information. And I'll get to anyone that has information to contact us, and I think Lieutenant Weeks is going to cover that same point because that's important. This case, although an arrest has been made, is far from concluded. Victim specialists from our Victim Services Division have been assigned to ensure the victim's family is receiving the appropriate and adequate assistance as they traverse this journey that's ahead of them. But if anyone does have information about this incident, maybe you know Lemus. You know what he did before the murder. Maybe you know what he did after. Maybe you know where the firearm is. It's an important piece of evidence. We want to hear from you. Again, I want to offer my sincere condolences on behalf of Chief Davis, all the men and women of the police department on this very senseless homicide. This was a simple disagreement, passing words on a sidewalk that escalated to the point where a young man lost his life. But I also want to thank our community, our engaged community who called right away and provided information. To our law enforcement officers and detectives assigned to this case, Detective Byerson, and all the others that really make up the dream team, both on the homicide side of major crimes and our violent crimes unit, to our crime scene detectives that work so diligently for some sense of closure, but an ultimate justice to get a killer off the street. We are all safer with Lemus behind bars. He chose to have a gun, not his first time. He chose to shoot a man and ultimately take a life Saturday night in Fairfax County. Now he will face his consequences for his actions. I'd like to introduce one of my partners in the Major Crimes Command Team, Lieutenant Aaron Weeks of the Violent Crimes Division. Lieutenant.
Thank you, Major. I also want to offer my sincerest condolences to the victim's family. His life was cut short, and we do mourn with the family. I want to also echo what the Major has said about the thank yous that go out to the detectives that worked tirelessly on this case. Throughout the investigation, detectives worked hand in hand. So we have the Homicide Squad, we have all of the Major Crimes Bureau, Technical Investigations Unit, Computer Forensics Division, as well as everybody that makes up the Major Crimes Bureau. We worked hand in hand throughout this investigation with the Mount Vernon Neighborhood Patrol Unit, the Gang Intelligence Unit, and our Crime Analyst Unit. He was arrested yesterday, as the Major said, with the help of the Fugitive Track and Apprehension Squad, as well as our Special Operations Division. Those guys worked nonstop from the moment that arrest warrant was obtained until the moment he was arrested yesterday. As the Major said again, that the community is a safer place with Lemus behind bars. There are likely more people in the community that have information, and we do ask that if you do have information, even if it's something small, that you call us and give us that information. You can contact us by calling the Major Crimes Division or Bureau at 703-246-7800, option 2. Tips can also be submitted anonymously through the Crime Solvers by phone at 1-866-411-TIPS, TIPS. Tipsters are eligible for cash rewards up to $1,000. And with that, we'll take any questions that you might have.
You mentioned that he confessed. Has he given any indication or motivation as to why he did this?
I think that's part of the active investigation, and it is important for the integrity of the case for prosecution to keep that part of the investigation.
Diaz Flores was with a group of friends. Have any of them spoken with police or any of them cooperating with police?
So throughout the investigation, it's a late Saturday night. There's multiple people in the community that were out. As we do with any investigation, we canvass, we talk to anybody and everybody that may have seen anything. So we have been doing that diligently. The detectives have been in that area multiple days in a row, talking with the community in general.
Well, thank you all for coming. Oh, we have another question.
Can we ask any off-topic questions to these guys, or just?
We certainly, let's wrap this up, and we can do that on camera if you would like, or off camera right after the press conference. Okay? All right, great. Well, thank you all for coming out. You can follow us on our blog or on socials at Fairfax County PD. If you have any other questions or comments, we appreciate you. Thank you.